Berlin was collapsing. The Third Reich was only days away from defeat. Yet inside the ruins of the German capital, one question was being born, a question that would survive for decades. Did Adolf Hitler really die inside his bunker? Or did he somehow escape through the chaos of a dying empire? By late April 1945, Soviet forces were closing in from every direction. Berlin had become a battlefield of rubble, fire, and panic. The Nazi regime was disintegrating by the hour. Deep beneath the city, Hitler had retreated into the führerbunker, where the final chapter of his life and one of history's greatest mysteries was about to unfold. The führerbunker was not a grand fortress. It was a cramped underground shelter, sealed in concrete, filled with stress and surrounded by fear. As Soviet artillery pounded the city above, those inside the bunker knew the end was near. But no one could have guessed how uncertain Hitler's final moments would seem to the outside world. Witnesses later described Hitler as physically broken and mentally exhausted. His hands trembled. His movements were slow. The confidence of earlier years was gone. In the bunker, he still gave orders, but many of them had no meaning anymore. Germany was lost. Berlin was surrounded, and Hitler seemed determined not to be captured alive. In one of the strangest moments of the bunker's final hours, Hitler married Eva Braun. The ceremony was brief, quiet, and surreal. Soon after, he dictated his political and personal testament. These acts suggested that Hitler believed the end had come. But even with witnesses nearby, what happened next would become a source of endless suspicion. The people inside the bunker knew Hitler had made his decision. Staff members, officers, and secretaries waited outside in silence. No one wanted to interrupt. No one wanted to witness what was about to happen. Then, according to later accounts, there was a moment of final stillness, followed by the realization that the Nazi leader was gone. According to the most common account, Hitler died on April 30th, 1945, in his private room inside the bunker. Witnesses later claimed that Eva Braun had taken cyanide, while Hitler used both poison and a pistol. But no film footage exists, and the world never saw a clear public body. That lack of certainty opened the door to decades of doubt. Hitler had reportedly ordered that his body must never be displayed like Mussolini's. To prevent that, his remains were carried outside into the bunker garden, drenched with gasoline and burned under artillery fire. The scene was chaotic, rushed, and incomplete. And that was exactly why the mystery became so difficult to settle later. When Soviet troops captured the bunker area, they found burned remains near the Chancellery Garden. But the situation was far from clear. The bodies were badly damaged, records were incomplete, and secrecy quickly took over. Instead of ending the mystery, the Soviet discovery made the story even more confusing for the rest of the world. One major reason the mystery survived was Joseph Stalin himself. In the months after Berlin fell, Soviet leaders gave confusing and sometimes contradictory messages about Hitler's fate. At times, Stalin even suggested that Hitler might have escaped. Whether this was strategy, paranoia, or disinformation, it helped create one of the most famous conspiracy theories in modern history. Soviet investigators conducted a secret autopsy on the remains they believed were Hitler's, but the reports were never clearly shared with the wider world at the time. Much of the information stayed hidden in Soviet archives. With so little transparency, rumors spread quickly, and every missing detail seemed to make the story darker.
But this was only the beginning of the mystery. When the smoke cleared over Berlin, the world was left with more questions than answers. The body was burned. The reports were hidden. And some of the most important files stayed locked away for years. So before we accept the official story, we must ask one final question. What if the real truth was not buried in the bunker, but hidden all out?